Hello, everyone, and welcome to Haze's Higher Learning. My name is Ashlee Haze, and I'm so excited to introduce my new podcast to you. This episode is called An Intro to Higher Learning, so you understand who I am, how I came to this particular podcast, and what I hope to accomplish. So Haze's Higher Learning is a space I founded in 2017, and my intention is for this to be a brave space for healing, learning, and experimentation. This is a product of about a 3-year-long journey of healing and self-actualization for me. I am a poet and I'm originally from Chicago, but I've lived in Atlanta most of my life. My folks are great migration folks. So we have roots in the South, and then they took trains to Chicago in the 60s and 70s. And ultimately we've moved back to the South. So that's kind of, my point of view that I'm going to be coming from is having really two distinct upbringings through my childhood. I have been a career poet for about 3 years. I tour and I travel the country, performing at colleges, venues, local slams. Before I did that, I was a procurement officer for the city of Atlanta. I did purchasing and contracts. And before that, I got my degree in philosophy at Georgia State University. So my background is philosophical approaches, answers to questions about the why and the how. I am not a licensed therapist, and listening to this podcast should not substitute for professional help. I want you to hear me when I say that. But I am a teacher, and so my goal here is to teach you what I've learned and hopefully pique your interest to dive deeper into these subjects. So I came to this work actually through a woman named Chauncey Beatty. I posted on Facebook, hey, y'all, I think I need some help, and do you all recommend therapy or a life coach? And Chauncey actually is known as the heart worker. And she said, well, I think I can help you. Talk to me a little bit. And so I ended up hiring Chauncey to just work me through the heart work. And we did about 90 days of aggressive work, investigating things about myself, understanding my value systems, unlearning some old and toxic value patterns. And so after my work with Chauncey, after that 90 days, we did about 6 months of at least like once a month. And then after that, I sort of transitioned to partnership with a woman named Pam Iverson. So Pam is a life coach, and she's just such a dope human being, but she holds me accountable to this work. We talk about the books we've read. We talk about things that are coming up in our local community. She runs a nonprofit organization called Girls Growing. And it's a co-op learning space for women or non-men of color. And it's been really dope for me. I'm also under the care of therapist Carolyn Commodore. So know that I don't show up to this work just kind of out here in these streets. I show up accountable and with people to make sure I show up as authentically as I possibly can. People used to always tell me, Kira, you always want to tell people what you've learned. So yeah, my real name is Kira. My mom named me Kira Ashlee. And I was like, you want to tell people what you learn. And I do, but I want it to be from a place of love, and I want it to be welcome. So I created a podcast so you can check in, listen to it, pause it, stop it, whatever. Anything you hear in this podcast is an offering. Please take what works and leave what doesn't. Please do not think that this is me holding to some system of belief. We're actually going to talk about not doing that. And this is not me shoving something down your throat. Please come to it if you want to, if you like it, if it's interesting to you. What brought me here is that higher learning is really a solution to what I perceive to be problem areas. And the body keeps the score. Besser Vanderkolk quotes that most research is me search. And we come to the sciences that most reflect our unmet needs and self-interest. And so for those of you who don't know, I posted on Instagram actually that my partner of 10 years, I had a really traumatic breakup with him. I don't want to go into the details, but I will say that he was ultimately living a double life. And so I came back from tour to find that he had gotten a woman pregnant. And so they now have twins. And He betrayed my trust and he gaslit me and lied to me until I was able to uncover information and place hard boundaries with him. And I got tired of the men I chose to love not showing up as themselves, and they were using lying and manipulation as a means to get their needs met by women. I got tired of men telling me what they think I wanted to hear instead of the truth. I also have to be accountable for the ways in which I showed up in those relationships and the patterns I was exhibiting. I have to be accountable for the ways in which I learned to use violence as a coping mechanism. I have to be accountable for some toxic beliefs that I internalized, having been a woman with Southern roots who was raised in the church. I have also been doing some intense work in breaking generational patterns in my family. I want to stay away from language like generational curse. I think these are patterns and habits that were learned in the context of trauma. And I want people from all walks to be able to come to this work and really get help to shift into healthy behaviors. I want people to show up to relationships and parenthood and work wholeheartedly. I want racists to overcome their fear and shame and stop harming folks in marginalized groups en masse. I want to stop homophobia and transphobia. I want more love in the world. I want us to incorporate love into how we create and do business. And higher learning is one of my contributions to those efforts. And there are some great podcasts out there, including Therapy for Black Girls, The Red Table Talk, Ayanla Fix My Life, Oprah's Masterclass. The homie Sierra DeMolder has the Just Break Up podcast, LeBron James The Shop, and others that do similar work. So I'm here to add my voice and my perspective. So my mission is to make behavioral health, business, and personal growth education accessible in non-traditional environments. I was a person who excelled in traditional school environment. But for those who that's not accessible to, you can just click on a podcast. I love YouTube University. I think accessibility of information is what ultimately changes the world. And my vision is a world where social justice is achieved via love-based ethics. And I want this podcast to be something you listen to and ideally you take notes. I actually loved the idea of church. I liked weekly learning and community and fellowship, but the church failed me in many ways. And so here we are with the podcast. Some key values to understanding higher learning is courage is my biggest one. This work is going to be scary. Brene Brown writes that you can have your courage or you can have your comfort, but you cannot have both. And I was actually talking to my homie Aisha. We were in New Orleans once, and she said, courage comes from the French word for heart. And it's interesting because as a society, we are so quick to label men as courageous, but we discourage them from actually feeling. And so this is going to help when we get into shifting from toxic masculinity to divine masculinity. This will get uncomfortable. We will deal with difficult subjects and question our behavior. And please recognize that uncomfortable does not equal unsafe. I think we have to be willing to step outside of our comfort zones to ultimately grow. And too many of my people are gone because someone mistook discomfort for a threat. So please be willing to get uncomfortable. But if there is a safety issue, please let me know. This podcast is about transparency. I believe transparency is telling the truth as soon as you are aware of it. Don Miguel Ruiz writes that the truth is like a scalpel. And the truth is painful because it opens all of the wounds which are covered by lies so that we can be healed. These lies are what we call the denial system. Haze's Higher Learning seeks to get rid of that denial system. Let's live in reality in the present and deal with what is. I believe in accountability. I believe in doing what we say we're going to do and being accountable to the mission and the intentions we set. I believe in awareness. Many folks use the term woke, which is hella binary because it's like you're either woke or asleep. Buddhism calls it enlightenment. I think it was either Brene Brown or maybe even Paulo Coelho in The Alchemist that referred to it as awareness, because all you need to do to show up to this work is be aware of your behavior. I even like the term mindfulness. Be mindful and aware of what you're doing, and together we're going to investigate the why. I believe in curiosity. This is a space where questions are not encouraged, but they are necessary. I'm going to ask questions throughout this journey, and I hope if you decide to join me on this, you'll ask questions too. I'm a person, I used to have a history of using questions violently. I would interrogate people, especially when they've harmed me. But I am learning to be curious and to ask questions from a position of love and mutual growth. Maggie Nelson writes in a book called Bluets, it does not push me further into knowledge or beauty. And my goal now when I ask difficult questions is to strive towards knowledge and beauty. My goal is to help you identify areas in your life where you may be making fear-based decisions instead of love-based decisions. I want to increase peace in our relationships and decrease suffering. I want to decrease lying and manipulative behavior and increase connection. I want to give you the tools to live a wholehearted life. The root of all suffering is attachment. That is a philosophy that when I heard it, a Buddhist philosophy, when I heard it, changed the way I did life. The root of all suffering is attachment. And so I want to identify places where we have suffering and break those attachments and move to connection. I want us to move from surviving and trauma-based decisions and behaviors to thriving decisions and behaviors. I want us to be patient and gracious with ourselves. Don Miguel Ruiz writes, repetition makes the master. So we're going to keep coming back to some of these same concepts. I mean, some churches teach Exodus for months or years at a time. So this is not something we'll be able to touch and just go through. Repetition is going to make us masters. And through this, you're going to see two distinct knowledge paths. One is the behavioral health and personal growth path, and the other is going to be the business and ethics. We're going to cover a wide range of topics, including how to run your own business, how to heal trauma, discovering non-traditional lifestyles, effective communication, emotional intelligence, and most importantly, how to love. I am prioritizing the personal growth and behavioral health. So business episodes won't show up until we've built that foundation. So please give me at least 6 episodes to sort of lay that framework. My philosophy is from the book of Miss Lauryn Hill, How We Gonna Win If We Ain't Right Within. Our next episode is emotional safety, and we'll go into detail about what to expect from this process and how to begin practicing safe emotional practices. How can you support Haze's Higher Learning? The first thing you can do is give me feedback. Let me know how I'm doing. Hold me accountable to my mission statement and what I say I want to achieve. I'm human as fuck. So holla at me, call me in, ask questions, submit topics that you want to learn more about or issues that you need help resolving. Send me books I should read. The second thing you can do is share. Send it to someone who you think might benefit from this work. Forward it to people who you think might be interested in investing or assisting me with the work. The goal is for this to be a catalyst for communication, healing, and understanding. Please, please do not weaponize this work by sending it to people in judgment. The work is about you, not them. And if you are not sharing in love, then I would ask that you not share it at all. The third thing you can do is financially support. Right now, I'm doing the graphic design, social media, and recording. My homie Alvin has decided to help me with editing. And I'm a full-time artist, so I use my own resources and I call in favors to make this happen. So if you are touched in any way, please feel free to submit a love offering via PayPal or support me via Patreon. You can do that by visiting www.ashleehaze.com. That's ASHLEEHAZE.com/Haze's Higher Learning. There's a Higher Learning tab in the top toolbar. And I am really excited to start this journey with y'all. So I'm a music head and a poet, of course, so I'm really into lyrics. So every week I'd like to give you a song that I'm listening to. And some weeks I'll even have playlists. The song of this week is Keep Looking by Sade. It has been an anthem for me, so I hope you keep looking. Thank you for listening to Haze's Higher Learning, where together we are learning better, doing better, and being better. Y'all have a wonderful week.